if you're filing a claim for fibromyalgia, presumptive condition, whatever, you need to be aware of what they're testing in the exam. So they have this old antiquated test, and I believe it's an 18-point test, and they literally like poke you 18 places. So I was like, wow, this is weird. Welcome to, well, it was 2019 at the time, but welcome to the 22nd century or whatever we're in, Buck Rogers. Anyway, VA's stuck in the 70s. We're not here to change VA laws at the moment. We're here to pass C&P exams and, prepare for what they're going to be hitting us with. So it's an 18-point test. And I was like, all right, cool. Walked in there. It was in a mobile medical clinic in Montana. So it was in a trailer, like an RV. Kind of cool part about that was I was able to park right out in front and then just roll right in, no parking with my truck and all that stuff. So I rolled in there and I was getting evaluated for my feet, but I had widespread pain. I was prepared for this fibromyalgia part, but I was also prepared to talk about my feet. And I did both. One of the things that threw me off with the C&P examiner, and you have to be prepared to be thrown off, is the C&P examiner, the doctor's like, all right, so I need to do a fibromyalgia test on you. Okay. Like I studied, right? And then he's like, I don't believe in fibromyalgia. And I'm like, inadequate C&P exam. Like all these thoughts are going through my head. You got to be sharp in these C&P exams. This guy actually wasn't trying to throw me off, but you just don't know. You have to pay attention. So he tells me he doesn't believe in fibromyalgia, but he believes in chronic pain syndrome. It's like, okay, whatevs. And then he goes on, and I'm kind of like listening to his explanation. I'm like, all right, we need to get back on track. I'm here for my feet. This fibromyalgia stuff's just some whatever kind of stuff. I want to start talking about the pain in my feet. So he just kind of explained that some doctors believe in fibromyalgia, some believe in chronic pain syndrome. Like, okay. And then he started poking me. He's like, and it was kind of funny because he's like, all right, I have to do this like weird test on you. And he already told me he doesn't believe in fibromyalgia or the test. So he's like, pain here? No. Pain there? Like all the time? Like if you press on it or if you press it hard? Yeah, I have pain right there. Okay. Like he fills out the DBQ, like that part. So there's like 18 parts and I had 11 parts that had pain because I'm in pain all the time. And this is a throw off kind of test for sure. Because like, do I have pain right now? Do I have pain, a month ago? Is my common pain there? So is your light tap hurting me versus like getting clocked? No, that doesn't hurt, but you have to talk about your worst day. So I'm feeling pretty weird about this whole thing. Fibromyalgia test was done. Poke, 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 poke. Like, okay, checked off the DBQ. And then he went into the feet part. And then I didn't know if I had an inadequate C&P exam. It felt inadequate. And I knew that you should report your inadequate C&P exam. This is a call you have to make on the spot, and you need to do it quick. So I'm just kind of sitting there the way he assessed my foot condition, which is kind of a joke because I'm in the QTC mobile medical clinic. So walk. Like I'm in an RV, dude. Where? It was like his table was set up at a 45-degree angle, like walk 3 steps that way and walk 3 steps the other way. And he sent me for a testosterone test. So there's a lot of little things kind of going off in my head about Gulf War syndrome. I was stationed in Turkey. Turkey is not on the list, but I believe that since I'm a Gulf War veteran, they call me a Gulf War veteran, I'm a combat veteran, already rated for that. I think that the fibromyalgia just kind of got mixed in with my feet and all my unexplained pain in my body. So the outcome of that C&P exam was I got a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome. They don't have chronic pain syndrome anymore. I think that was in the DSM-4. Now we're on DSM-5. It's actually a mental health disorder called somatic symptom disorder. I also got a rating for that as well, but it was lumped in with my mental health pyramiding and all that stuff. So it's all jammed into my 70% combat PTSD rating. But I got a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome. They call this an analogous rating. If they no longer have a rating for what they used to call it, they give you the new rating. So they find something that's close to it. So in the end, I mean, a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome, huge. Also, that's also another Gulf War symptom. So I think they looked at the whole picture, which was I didn't talk about my neck and my back pain because it's not service connected. I talked about the pain that I had, all the Norcos that I was on, and they had to make some leaps around all this unexplained pain. I'm not going to go so far as to say this was a medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illness. It's tough going into a CNP exam like this because I wasn't expecting the fibromyalgia stuff. I was focused on my feet. So let's talk about fibromyalgia ratings, how they rate it. I pretty much told you what they're looking for from my perspective as I went through a CNP exam for fibromyalgia. So let's talk about the ratings. The VA rates fibromyalgia from 10% to 40%. Each rating has widespread pain and tender joints. Other symptoms involve combination of fatigue, sleep disturbances, stiffness, headaches, IBS, depression, or anxiety. So I already have a diagnosis of sleep apnea, don't have headaches, definitely have stiffness. I have medical evidence to support IBS, and I have a rating for depression and anxiety. So keep that in mind. You know, if you have some of this stuff, it might work to your favor. A 10% disability rating for fibromyalgia requires a veteran take continuous medication, which controls the fibromyalgia. So I don't know what that's like because I don't know any medication other than hardcore Norco narcotics, and it doesn't really control it because narcotics kind of like make you high and mask pain. They don't really, I mean, I guess it used to be a control thing, but now they're kind of, opioid crisis thing. A 20% disability rating for fibromyalgia has all the things in the 10% rating, but additional symptoms flare up 1/3 of the time, and they're not controlled by medication. This kind of explained my situation a little better. A 40% disability rating for fibromyalgia is the highest available rating. It's not controlled by taking medication, and the veteran's symptoms are constant, and therapy doesn't help. So I'm not sure what kind of therapy they're talking about. I'm assuming it's physical therapy, not mental therapy. My symptoms were probably at the 40% fibromyalgia category, but since my CNP examiner didn't believe in it and he was a believer in chronic pain syndrome, and they don't have a rating for chronic pain syndrome, I ended up with a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome, an analogous rating.